My name is John Bostedt. I've been selling real estate for 40 years. I am one of the co-owners and broker manager for Western Realty. I got my partner here, Buck.
That's right.
Buck, how long have you been selling real estate?
Well, pretty close to what you've been doing.
God, between us, 80 years.
We don't look that old,
Why
do
don't
we?
we control? We don't look that old, but why don't we control this town? I don't get it.
I don't know. That's what we're trying to search for these days.
Anyways, so my marketing person tells me that I need to do content, which I guess is what this is called, to get everybody to know how wonderful I am. By the way, I am very wonderful. Just ask me, I'll tell you. So
He will. He'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't sure what to talk about, and the big thing in Vegas right now is our over inventory, our lower demand,
Right.
property sitting on the market. Like, I run a report every day to see where we are with listings compared to price decreases. Here's a report today in the last 7 days. We've added 1,768 new listings. But you know what we've also done? We've had 1,803 price reductions. So that means people are fighting each other for the next buyer. They keep on lowering the prices. You know, the board says that our prices have decreased within the last year. They're saying only 1% to 2%. But in actuality, the 1% to 2% was probably only within the last 30 to 60 days.
But is all this trouble generating a response, John? That's the problem.
I don't know. I do know this. We have an over-inventoried market
Yes.
that is under demand. It's not the same demand we had just 2 or 3 months ago. And properties are sitting. And it's not only residential, by the way. My commercial friends are telling me the same thing, that
Right.
they can't lease their properties out, which is good for us because we're looking for a bigger space, right? So
Well, sure.
we're going to take advantage of that. But a couple stats that have come up recently for Las Vegas, we're number one, Buck, in 2 different things. I don't know if we want to be number one in these 2 things.
Yes.
But the one thing we're number one in the nation, our inventory from 2024 so far to 2025, if you take the last 12 months, our inventory is 77% higher than it was just a year ago. 77%. That tells me properties are just sitting on the market and more coming on.
Well, that's right. Why would you pay a high interest rate and sell at a lower interest rate that you already have on your property? That's what's put us at a stalemate, Johnny boy. That's it.
The only good thing about that, our move-up buyers are non-existent. Because you're right, they're not going to trade their 4% for a 6.5% or
That's
7%,
right.
right?
They're not
going
gonna
to
do
trade it. So that's a big part of our market that's missing. So the ones that keep coming on, they have to sell. But the problem is with the price wars that are going on between owners,
That's right.
they're not selling. And the buyers are sitting on the fence because the buyers all think that we're going to get interest rates because of the new administration.
That's
we're
right.
going to get interest rates at 5%, 5.25%. But what's not being taken in consideration is Jerome Powell and the Fed.
Right.
They say they're protecting us. They say they're protecting us from inflation. But the job reports that come out, jobs are up, right? Unemployment is down.
Everything's looking good.
Inflation is
That's
down.
right. Everything's
Everything is as low as it can be over
Right.
the last compared to 4 years.
Going the way
last
it's supposed
4
to
years,
go.
right?
That's right.
Everything's going the way
Everything's
it's
going.
And Jerome Powell, it's funny. He had a news conference he just did. I think it was yesterday, and he said that he believes he might be lowering interest rates in September. He's talking maybe a 1/4 point, and then there might be another reduction before the end of the year, right?
Right. That's right.
But
No.
he brought up the reason why he was holding off lowering interest rates is because of tariffs. Because of tariffs. He didn't know how the tariffs were going to affect our economy. He thought with the tariffs, inflation was going to go through the ceiling.
He got
right?
surprised. He got surprised.
He was very surprised. You know, in the United States, back in the early 1900s, there was no federal income tax.
That's right. Up in 1913, I believe.
Yeah, everything was paid through tariffs.
That's exactly correct.
I can say this about the U.S. I think the U.S. has more to offer every other country. We have more things to sell. We have more of everything. I don't care if it's oil, if it's minerals, if whatever it is. We have more of it. So these other countries since we can offer more than they want to deal with us. And it's proof is in the pudding. Trump started doing the tariffs, and what happened? All these countries were coming to the table.
But these countries were so used to not paying those tariffs, John. Now they feel like they're being punished, and they're not.
But they're not being punished.
They're doing what needs to be done right.
And they're agreeing to them.
That's
the important thing. They're agreeing to them.
That's right.
How many hundreds of billions, probably trillions within the next year, are going to be paid in tariffs to, I don't know, how about lower our deficit?
But the debt that we owe is going to take a long time.
It's going to well,
it seems like it's not knocking it down. That's because past administrations have put us at the point where we're so far in debt, it's going to be awful hard to catch up. Everybody's going to have to follow the same plan that we have now.
True.
Once this administration is gone, the next one better pick up where they left off. Otherwise, we're going to go back again to where we just came from.
But I think we're on the right path.
I do too.
I think these tariffs are the right path.
Yes.
And the proof is in the pudding. We have these countries that are agreeing to them. They're not having a problem with them. Remember, China was trying to fight us.
Oh,
Canada was trying to fight us.
Always. India now.
They both turned around pretty darn quickly and said, "Let's talk."
That's right. Yo, sure.
So because they know the U.S. has more to offer than their country does to the U.S. We have more to offer them than they have to offer us. Now, the one stat I said, our inventory raised by 77% in 1 year. The other stat, which just came out between, I'm sorry, let me check this. Yeah, between June and July 2025, we were number one again. Guess what? In what? Number one in what?
You got me.
Foreclosures, brother.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Foreclosure filings. The Nevada was number one in the whole country for foreclosure filings.
I'd like to know how many months behind most of those are, too.
Well, typically,
I'd like to know
here in Nevada, you're going to be 6 months behind before they file the first notice, the notice of default.
That's a good point.
Usually 6 months.
Most people panic when they get the first
I follow
letter.
I follow notice of defaults.
Right, I know
I
you do.
follow them daily, right?
Yep.
I send out letters daily, and I go knock on doors daily. Actually, my last few transactions were notice of default transactions, and I have another one after this. I have two of my investors meet me at another person's house to talk about the notice of default.
How are people's attitudes when they get a notice of default?
Well,
are they mad?
Of course they're mad.
Do they take
They're
it out
mad,
on you?
No,
are they willing to talk about it?
No, they do want to talk about it, and most of them, there's good reasons why they're in that situation. They've had a medical issue. They got laid off from their job. It's not that they just decided, I'm just not making my mortgage payment. There's always a reason.
They're looking for a solution.
They're always looking for a solution. And as a realtor, realtors should bring those solutions to them.
Give them options. We have to give them options.
Got to give them options.
And
that's all I do.
Let them decide. Mm-hmm. You recently had one just like that.
I actually just closed on a few, and I have, like I said, the one today.
The one today and the one yesterday that came in and talked to you about that.
Yep.
They're looking for an out. They're looking for a solution, and they want you to take the burden on solving their problem.
Which is part of what a realtor's responsibility is.
Exactly.
Is to help our consumer friends. That's the bottom line.
Show them the path.
If we're not teachers, then we're not doing our job.
That's exactly right.
They don't sell homes for a living. We do, right? So we were number one again in foreclosures. So here's the thing. And what we're trying to teach our agents, I took one of our agents under my wing.
I know you did.
And I developed a plan for her.
You sure did, and she really appreciated it. She was there bright and early today because you told her you got to show up on time and you got to produce.
And you got to produce.
That's exactly right. You have to produce.
You have to do uncomfortable things.
Sure.
If you want to be a successful agent, you need to do uncomfortable
things. In any
things.
profession, you got to do things that you don't want to do.
To get to number one, you do. To get on the top of the hill, it's uncomfortable things.
That's right.
But let's face it, in our business, you've heard of the 80-20 rule, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here in Las Vegas, it's more of a 90-10 rule. There's 10% of us that are generating 90% of the commissions. Think about that.
But the rest of them, the problem is, John, they can't stand rejection. That's why they've turned towards more the computer than they do face-to-face like the old days with us.
I think rejection is part of it.
They don't like
that
rejection.
But if you don't like rejection, get out of sales. I don't care what sales it is.
That's exactly right.
But I think there's a bigger part. And I think that bigger part is the brokers. The brokers aren't training their agents.
That's exactly right.
To most brokerages, an agent is just the number. Plain and simple, they're a number.
Sure, and the broker has to be available at all times. They have questions that have to be answered now. They don't want to call and say, well, the broker's not in today. Call Tuesday or Wednesday between 2 and 3 o'clock. I'll answer your question. Most of the questions need the answer right away, right now. They got to have that answer.
And how do we resolve that at our office?
We give them a guarantee
Yes,
signed
we
by
do,
myself
my
and
brother.
you.
Yes, we
guarantee them that we'll call them back.
And if they don't, they're not paying for the next month.
That's right. They get
But
a
at the end of the day, I blame a lot of the brokers because they don't take the time to educate these agents.
And they've lost the fact that it's the agents that built them what they are today.
That's
Most
darn
of them,
straight.
Most of them say, I did this. No, it's the
No.
agents that work with them that did it for them. But
Absolutely.
as time goes on, they start to realize, well, I did this and I did that. No.
No. So I think brokers have to take a bigger interest in their agents.
That's right.
And help them. Here's the facts. The reason why 90% of the agents are only generating 10% of the income because they haven't been taught how to make money. They haven't been taught the mechanics of working with the buyer, working with the seller. Most agents can't even explain a purchase agreement to their
Because they're not
clients
looking at
properly.
it as a profession. How many agents do we know that'll say, well, you know what? I just took this to make money on the side.
Well,
It's not a sideline. It's a profession.
It is a profession, but you're always going to have the mom or the dad who's doing it part time. You're always going to have You're going to have the
Sure.
fireman in it. You're going to have the
All
police.
walks of
It's
life.
always going to be that way, but it's up to us to educate the consumers. Like just a story. I had a for sale by owner.
Yes.
Okay, comes in. She calls me on one of my letters.
Tough. They're tough.
Yeah, well, they're not. You know what? I look at a for sale by owner who's someone who doesn't know yet. She just doesn't. They just don't know yet. They don't know how hard it is to sell a home. So she calls me up for my letter, and so I talked to her. I was like, "Oh, thank you for calling me. Blah blah blah. What's your address?" And I get all that. And I said, "I'd love to come by and see your home." And she said, "Well, I have to verify you are who you are before you welcome my home. I'm a single female, and I understand the safety
Sure.
part of it."
That's natural.
So I invite her in the office. She comes in the office. We have a very good conversation. Nice lady. She's got I did eventually get to her townhouse. It's a nice house. So we set a meeting for yesterday.
Sure.
Okay. So I go to her house. We got a 4:30 meeting. You know me. I'm there at 4 o'clock. Hey, I was taught you're better off being a day early than 1 minute late for any appointment because it's disrespectful to your client.
That's
to
right.
be
And I
late.
believe a one-on-one like you set up is the way to go.
So I
You have
walked
to look
through,
at that person.
I walked through the property. It's a really nice property. She's selling it by owner in the over
Okay.
the 3 range, 320, 330 range. Comps tell me it's in.
Did she realize what's involved, or did you have to educate
No,
her?
she didn't. I went through that. I went through my safe island. I explained all the hurdles that have to be jumped and the pitfalls that come along with the sale. But the point is, she wants a price with, in today's atmosphere, it's just not doable.
Did she justify the price by professionals, or did she justify it by going to all these websites that tell you what they think it's worth, and she put her own thing together?
No, it was actually, I hate to admit this, but it was a couple agents
Okay.
that are, I call it buying a listing. You tell the consumer,
Well, sure, that's
not
right.
what they need to hear on value to get the job done, but what they want to hear, right?
That's right.
So a couple agents were in there, and they had told her, yeah, 320 shouldn't be a problem. One of them even said, I think I can get you 325 or
What they want to
330.
hear.
What they want
Of course,
to
their
hear.
eyes are going to open wide, but when
So-
you hit it, what happens when you hit them with the truth?
Well, here's the situation. I went through the comparables. I tried to open her eyes, and I think I did. She had some ideas which, in way of value, there was no sense to them. So I worked on that to bring some clarity to the situation. And she's signing my paper. She goes, John, I trust you. I like you. Everything you told me, you went through that safe island thing. No one's ever explained the process that well.
Right.
I've learned a lot from just sitting here with you. I really trust you. Let's just get the papers going. And I was like, well, that's fine. And of course, being a good broker, I had the papers on me. I said, what kind of price? She goes, could you try it like $319? I said, darling, there's only two things that sell any commodity. I've already gone through this. Those two ingredients to make any sale, I don't care what you're selling. You got to have the right price, and enough people have to know about, so you got to have enough exposure. And I went through how we do List Hub Global, so we have additional exposure off of what the board has. I went through all that with her. So I said, here's the deal. I don't want you to think you left money on the table.
Right.
So if you want to list at 319, I'll list it at 319, but you and I have to have an agreement that after the first 2 weeks and after that activity, that I come back here, we review the comps, and we make adjustments. What I'm not going to tell you is your property is worth 320. I don't believe it is. I believe your property is going to be somewhere in the 290s. Okay? My price for your property would probably be 298,888. That would be my price. So I'm willing to list at your price as long as you're willing to meet me every couple weeks and we revisit comparables and activities.
Did she agree to that?
She did. She agreed to it. So we're filling out the papers, and I'm explaining. I don't like anybody to sign anything blind. And part of what our business has become, I've been doing this for 40 years, and you know what I love? The old days.
Sure.
The old days when you
I do
sat
too.
down and you went through every document. You sat at a kitchen table, and you went through every document with the sellers, and you explained what everything meant. And so when they were signing those forms, they had a clear understanding of what they were signing. With electronic signatures today, agents just shoot the papers across.
There are a lot of agents, John, that I don't even know. I've never seen them. I don't know what they look like, but yet we do the deal.
I know, it's sad, isn't it?
It sure is.
It's sad.
It's unbelievable.
So I'm going through the papers with her. She doesn't sell homes for a living. I do. And we're through most of the listing papers. We're at the SRPD, which of course you know and I know. Agents don't touch that
Don't
form
touch it. That's
because
right.
of liability.
You can't touch
the
it.
sellers have to fill out every bit of, even the date. Like we teach our agents, don't even put the date on that form. They can date it, right? So she's halfway through, and she brings up a couple ladies that she had in that were from EXP. Her words, not mine. The hot ladies.
I got
That's
you.
what she called
Well,
them,
sure.
okay? And she said, they can get me 325. I said, well, I'm going to tell you what. I folded up the papers. I stopped her in her tracks. I said, here's the thing. She goes, no, what are you doing? She goes, I want to list with you. I said, no, I'm going to ask you to do something for me.
That's right.
I don't want you to finish these papers. Actually, I'm going to take it. The ones she signed, I put back in order. I put them in her folder. I was leaving with her anyways, with the comps and how wonderful
Sure.
I am, all my supporting documents.
Yes, the usual.
And the usual, yeah. So I folded it up, and she goes, John, no, I trust you. I really want you to do it. I was like, no, here's the thing. Since we've been talking, you've brought up the hot ladies from EXP at least 4 or 5 times. I'm not going to leave here, and then you are second guessing if you made the right decision.
But you see, John, most agents aren't like you. You're prepared to walk away and say, look, this is not a good fit. Maybe you should go the way you want to go and get someone who can make you happy.
Absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
willing to do that. Most agents don't look at it that way. They want that deal. That's why they promised that 325.
And you know why?
They want the deal.
Here's the problem with most agents. They're looking at the dollars.
That's right.
They're not looking at the helping
person.
the people
That's right.
achieve their goal.
The
Because
education of your client.
you know this, and I know this. Our business has nothing to do with sales.
No.
Nothing at all. Our business has everything to do with relationships. The more people you can service and make them happy with your service, the more likely you're going to get referrals in the future, and your business will become easier. Most agents just think of the dollar signs. I've
That's all.
never thought of the dollar signs. My wife tells me I should think of the dollar signs more. I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
But I've
Oh,
never
yeah.
thought of the dollar signs. I've always thought of the consumer, the client.
And it'll come back.
Always.
It always comes back.
And I truly, it's a blessing to me that any seller or buyer gives me the opportunity to serve them. Because that's what it's about, service. Our business is all about service. So I folded up her papers, and I said, you got to do me a favor. I'm not saying I might not be your agent. She goes, I want you to be my agent. I said, I will be your agent once you talk to them again. I want you to talk to them. You can ask them one simple question. Could you show me the comps
That's right.
that back up the price? Can you just show me those comparables?
Right.
And if they can show you those comparables,
That's the
guess
way to
what?
go.
Go with them.
That's the way to go. It
Even
sure
if
is.
they can't show you the comparables, but they're trying to convince you and they're doing a good job at it, and so you want to give it a shot, there's no hard feelings with me.
Not at all.
List the home. But I want you to do me one favor. When they ask you to reduce the price, that's when you show them the door. Because I guarantee you, they're going to ask you to reduce the price. We're in a declining market, not an appreciating
John, do you
market.
put in your contract that if they're not satisfied with your service that they can fire you?
I do something on every one of my listings, and I've been doing it for, 3 decades, 30 years.
Okay.
I've always been a broker manager or broker, so I can do this. By the way, all the other agents out there, until you talk to your broker, do not do this, right? But we give our agents the right to
We
do
sure
this.
do. We sure do.
Under additional terms on every listing agreement, under additional terms, I put in a couple things in there. I put in that seller has the right to sell their home by owner to any unrepresented buyer prior to opening escrow with us. Okay, so if they get their own buyer, they don't have to pay me a dime. Now, the fact of the matter is, I don't think I've had one. I've given them, don't forget, this is about 30 years worth. I've given everybody the same opportunity. I don't think anybody has taken me up on that. Not one person. I can't remember one person who's done that. But the other thing I put in there, because NAR tells us one of the pullbacks from a seller listing your home with agents is they don't want to sign long listing agreements
Exactly.
and be tied up with someone who maybe can't do the job, right?
Right.
So the second thing I put in there is the seller may cancel this agreement at any time by simply calling John W. Bostedt with my phone number prior to opening escrow. And I explained to him, once we open escrow, you have a contract. Two principals have a contract. I can't break that up. I can't do anything with that. That's a matter of law, right?
Right. That's right.
But until that point, feel free. Feel free. If I'm not doing my job, fire me. Bottom line. But I'm going to do my job. And I can tell you, I have never, ever been fired from a listing agreement. Now, in declining markets like we're in right now, I just had 4 properties in the last week. And you know this.
I sure do.
I've had 4 properties we were selling. And I monitor the price with every one of my sellers. I set them up on a drip so they see exactly what's going on in the neighborhood, right? And then I report to them every Sunday night. Hey, here's the activity we had. Here's the showings we've had. Here's what's on the market currently. Here's what went under contract, and here's what closed.
But now we're back to everybody's waiting for that interest rate to come down.
Everybody.
So we'll rent until something happens.
And that's
what they're doing.
That's exactly what 4 of them did. They said, John, could you, and we have a property management search.
We sure do.
And a property management division. And they said, John, can you rent it out? We'd like to have some kind of money. Can you blame them? I can't blame them, right? And it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. They needed money coming in. These are vacant properties. They're worried about, although I go by my vacant properties every few days to make sure they're not vandalized, right? So that's exactly what I did. I put them on the market for rent, and boom, 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 running all 4 of them. All 4 of them. Now, I don't want you to tell you the tens of thousands of dollars that I didn't make, but it's never been about the money. It's about taking care of the consumer. So here's what I did. I created those 4 properties in my pipeline. I'm property managing for them right now. I got them all great tenants. And who knows? We might rent those properties out for another 2 years, another 3. I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to my client.
That's
but
right.
at the end of the day, it's about my client's happiness. It's about their goals.
And you have their loyalty now.
I certainly hope I do, buddy.
You
I
will.
certainly hope
you'll,
I do.
You'll get it.
So
that's the way to do it.
I don't know what else to talk about today. Maybe talk about poker next time or something like that.
Yeah, I got plenty of chips.
I know you got chips.
Yeah, they're not worth anything, but I got plenty of them.
You got plenty of them. So I guess that we're gonna conclude.
Sure.
You want to add anything?
No, we'll do it again sometime.
Why don't you tell me
That's fun.
tell everybody how wonderful I am?
He's a wonderful guy. He really
am
is.
wonderful. And Buck's not bad himself. Hey,
Ah.
Grand Ole Opry boy, right here. He was on the Grand Ole Opry. He had his own
Many
country
years
western.
ago. That's right, in
Many
my younger
years
days.
ago. He tells me stories. And, hey, we should share some of those stories.
You know what? We should. We should a story a week.
As long as this is, but some of your stories are R-rated, so we got to make sure we keep it clean.
Yeah, but if they're not living, can you still tell those stories?
If they're not living, there's no lawsuits.
Well, then I got a lot of those. Most of the people I work with are gone.
Anyways, Johnny B, peace out. Buck, say bye.
Bye.
Adios.